Basic appraisal procedures, page 273. Approach to appraisal, also called cap rate or rate. Cash equivalent, the value of financing, notes, securities, etc., expressed in cash terms only. Cash equivalency adjustment, a change in the estimated value of a property, usually a comparable sale, to compensate for unusual financing terms in a transaction. Cash flow, the cash available after cash expenses have been paid. Non-cash expenses, such as depreciation, are not considered. Cavate emptor, a Latin phrase meaning let the buyer beware. The rule that says a buyer is expected to examine property carefully instead of relying on the seller to identify problems. CC&Rs, a declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, usually recorded by a developer to create a general plan of private restrictions for a subdivision. Census tract, relatively small areas used to track the population of the United States by the Census Bureau. Certificate of occupancy, a permit issued to the builder after all inspections have been made and the property is deemed fit for occupancy. Change, a principle affecting value in real estate that says all factors that influence real estate, physical, economic, governmental, and social, are constantly changing, and thus property value itself is subject to constant change. Chattel, a piece of personal property. Chattel mortgage, a mortgage for which personal property is used to secure the note. Civil rights, fundamental rights guaranteed to all persons by law. The term is primarily used in reference to constitutional and statutory protections against discrimination based on race, religion, sex, or national origin. Client, the party or parties who engage an appraiser by employment or contract in a specific assignment. Climate, the weather conditions of a given area. Closing, transfer of ownership of real property from seller to buyer according to terms and conditions in sales contracts or escrow agreements. Final stage in a real estate transaction. Closing costs, expenses incurred in the transfer of real estate in addition to the purchase price. For example, the appraisal fee, title insurance premiums, broker's commission, transfer tax, etc. Cloud on the title, a claim, encumbrance, or defect that makes the title to real property unmarketable. Commercial property, property zoned and used for business purposes such as warehouses, restaurants, and office buildings, as distinguished from residential, industrial, or agricultural property. Common areas, the land and improvements in a condominium, planned unit development, or cooperative that all residents use and own as tenants in common, such as the parking lot, hallways, and recreational facilities. It does not include individual apartment units or homes. Comparables, other similar recently sold properties in the same market area as the subject property. Comparative purpose data, Specific data that includes information about comparable sale properties, as well as income and cost information. Compare subject property data. Comparative unit method. A method for determining the cost of a building that uses the cost of recently built comparable buildings as a basis for estimating the cost of replacing the subject property. Competency rule. A USPAT rule that requires appraisers to have knowledge and experience necessary to complete assignments competently, and also contains procedures for appraisers who do not have sufficient competence. Competition. Two or more parties, properties, etc., trying to obtain the same thing. Competition principle of. In a free marketplace, this principle states that if excess profits are being generated by a particular product or service, then additional competition will develop. Competitive market analysis, CMA, a method of determining the approximate market value of a home by comparing the subject property to other homes that have sold, are